Hey everybody, it's Richard with Anime Magic. For those of you that don't know me, I am the president of Anime Magic. And I was sitting here in my office working on my laptop on some convention stuff, and I realized that I had not given a mid-year update yet. That's something I typically do about 5 or 6 months before the convention, and I have not done that this year. So I thought, what better time than now? I'd like to tell you guys what we've been working on, but also what to expect, from here on out. So let's dive right into it. So I know you guys probably outwardly have seen that we've been growing exponentially since we started and back in 2019. We've had more attendance every year, more programming, bigger guests, all sorts of stuff that you can see with your own eyes when you come to the convention every year. But there's a lot of internal growth that happens and stuff that we work on every year that you don't get to see. So I always think it's important to at least give you guys a little bit of insight as to what we're working on, because I truly believe the internal growth and processes that get improved, help improve the attendee experience in many ways. So one of our biggest areas for growth this year, which you may have actually seen us working on, has been adding a lot more staff. We noticed very quickly that we're understaffed. Our event grew quite a bit over the last couple years, but especially last year it was significantly larger, and we simply just did not have the staff to keep up with every single thing that we were doing. I mean, that's just the honest truth, right? So one of our big projects this year in the first half of the year has been finding a lot more people that are qualified and interested and the right cultural fit for Anime Magic on our team to work with. You've seen us doing job fairs. We've met a lot of people at the job fairs, many of which actually now work with us on Team Anime Magic. So we've nearly doubled our staff already, and we actually still have a few more positions to fill if we can find the right people. So it's been going super well. I think that's really going to translate into a better experience for everybody this year at Anime Magic. Not only attendees, of course, you'll see probably more streamlined programming, better access to things, but also for us internally, having more help, having more, staffing is going to help a lot for a lot of different reasons. But we've also been working internally on a lot of things like adding new software, new systems for things like inventory management and logistics. This kind of stuff really helps a lot. I know it seems a little boring, just hearing inventory management and logistics from the outside, but we now have a dedicated team, handling these things. And with the new software systems that we've put in place, it's making our lives a lot easier. So, something as simple as the logistics of, loading and organizing our stuff, for lack of better words, onto a truck and getting that stuff to the venue and then offloaded and into the room could translate for an example, into getting the room set up on time, and not having any programming, delayed or that sort of thing. So we've been working really hard to kind of identify these like little pain points that we've been experiencing over the past couple years. And I think between improving logistics and systems, but also adding a lot more staff, it's going to cover quite a bit of those things that we've been experiencing. So that's been kind of a big portion of what we've been working on. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, it's no secret we have a lot of additional projects we've been working on. In various capacities. I mean, a lot of you guys know about Night City Arcade. It's an arcade that myself, Carl, John, and Steve, who are directors, we all opened up, as a business together. And actually, this weekend we're servicing Anime St. Louis. We're going to be the arcade provider down there. So if you're out there, please stop by and say hello. We're also going to be hosting a DDR tournament down there. So if you're a DDR player, please sign up and come compete because it's going to be fun. Even if you're not a DDR player, just stop by and say hi. We'd love to see you. But we've been really busy with Night City with other stuff. We've been hosting birthday parties. We've been hosting private gameplay sessions, some photo shoots, privately, things like that. So we're hoping to do a lot more of that stuff, but it's been, a lot of getting started and, getting out there. So Night City is going well, and it's been fun hanging out with people at the arcade and stuff. But, it does take time, but it's something that we're continually working on, and it's a big part of Anime Magic, but also Anime Magic Inked, because Night City is the arcade provider for both of our conventions, which kind of segues me into my next thing as an additional project. Some of you, likely, most of you maybe, know that we opened up a second convention last year called Anime Magic Inked, which is our anime tattoo convention. This was a joint effort between myself and Steve, who is our director of security at the bigger show, Anime Magic. We both, in a nutshell, we both kind of just got very interested in the tattoo community and tattoo culture from doing the Tattoo Alley over the years, but also visiting other tattoo conventions. And then we obviously have a love for anime and anime cons. So, in this kind of weird amalgamation, we've been trying to, kind of experiment by putting those two things together. And, I'm happy to report that we're still learning, but it was very successful last year, enough so that we are hosting again this year. So Anime Magic Inked is coming back in November again. So if you're interested, come on out. It's a fun, late fall, early winter convention. And it's very, different than Anime Magic. It's still family friendly. However, we do have more adult focused programs and parties and things like that we're working on. So more on that later. We'll do some inked, videos and updates, but that's another project we've been working on. Now, on a personal level with Magic, I've been doing a lot of work on, some other special projects and events in the Anime Magic realm, if you want to call it that, under the brand. And I'm hoping some of these things may launch as early as next year in 2026. Some of them may be slated more for like 27 or 28. And obviously, you'll have to just kind of keep an eye out for that. I don't want to drop too much info until there's more, solid ground to stand on. One of those things that I will speak on, though, is that we're still working on a West Coast convention here in the United States. And, that's been something we've talked about for a while, whether it was Texas or, somewhere else on the West, in the West, kind of area. I've had a lot of different communications and offers. I've even done site visits at some of these places, out West in person. And we've come very close actually to striking some deals, but ultimately, again, to protect our privacy with partners or potential partners, I'm not going to speak too much on it, but it just didn't work out for one reason or another, even though we kind of got right to the end with some of them. So I'll just end it by saying, hey, we're still working on a West Coast convention. You can definitely expect that from us, probably within the next year or two. It's really just a matter of putting the work in, and we're still very much actively working on it. So keep an eye out for that, but also other projects that I can't quite talk about at all yet anyway, within the next year or two or three. We're really lucky that I've been able to sit back and have a lot more creative direction and be working on a kind of macro scale on some of the bigger things. A lot of our execs as well as directors are kind of working even a year or two or three ahead at this point. So we're thinking pretty hard about how we want to present Anime Magic and what markets we want to be in, and where we can bring the Anime Magic experience to, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. So I think where I'll kind of end the mid-year update video, because I feel like I'm already rambling and it's already getting too long. I'll keep this as short and sweet as possible, but we're going to, from here on out, what you can expect is that we're going to have a lot more media coming out in the next, coming weeks and months surrounding the event. Our podcast is about to return. It's taking on a new direction, and will start again very soon. One of the things that we're trying to do with the podcast is a little bit different format this year. There might even be an opportunity for some of you guys as attendees to come out to our physical location and sit down and do a podcast with us, as well as having more special guests, out on our podcast and sponsors and things like that. So I'm pretty excited about it. I know we're getting started with that a little later in the year than we typically do, but I have a pretty good feeling about it. So keep an eye out for the podcast coming soon. We're going to have a ton of special guests and programming announcements coming soon. I know we've already dropped a few, but basically from here on out, it's just going to keep getting more and more and more until the convention happens. You guys have seen that every year. It's like it ramps up. We have a lot of really cool guests this year. I wish I could tell you guys something about it in this video, but you're going to have to just wait for the announcements officially. But some of them are insane. You know, we got some really cool like international guests coming this year. I'm really excited and hyped for some of them. And again, I'm just going to leave it at that till we have official announcements. But other stuff you could expect is we're going to try from here on out to keep a schedule, maybe some kind of weekly update for you guys about where we're at, things that are being worked on, just some kind of media content. I mean, it could be a short video, it might be a live stream, or it could even just be some kind of media content production. You know, but we're also planning to do more in-person events coming up soon. So things like pre-con events, like I mentioned earlier, we might be doing another job fair or 2 or 3, depending on how they go. Excuse me. You know, but another thing we've been talking about that we might invite you guys out to soon in the near future as well is stuff like talent days. I know that sounds a little strange. You're like, what the hell is that? But basically, in a nutshell, and we'll make more videos on this later before we actually invite people out, but you know, I'm looking, and we as a team are looking to make some connections, both local and nationally, to some more talent, particularly in specific areas that we're interested in, that we're looking to expand upon. Some for this year, some for future projects and events, but more on that later. You know, we'll release it when the time is right, invite people out. If it's an invite only or, you know, a public thing, we might do a little bit of both. But it's something to look forward to and anticipate for performers of all different types, people with any kind of talent, you know, that sort of thing. So that's basically the mid-year update. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much. Our videos in the future will likely be much shorter, but the mid-year update typically is a little bit longer because we like to share a little bit more with you guys. But like I said, keep an eye out for our podcast, keep an eye out for job fairs, keep an eye out for announcements. Everything is about to start popping off. It's that time of year. We're so excited, and you know, let us know if you need anything. Send me an email. I'm always open. My inbox gets kind of full, but I'm always happy to get your emails. And I hope I will talk to you guys soon, and hopefully see you guys in person soon at one of our events. So until next time, see you later.